We're talking about ISIS in South Asia, that as ISIS increasingly is claiming attacks in Afghanistan and Pakistan, and worries in Bangladesh are only increasing. India too isn't unconcerned. India too is quite concerned about the possibility of that ideology here catching up. We've been talking at quite some length about what's been happening in the AFPAC region. Let's now talk about Bangladesh, India's other neighbor. As Bangladesh started the process of providing justice to millions who were maimed in the violence in Bangladesh in 71 and before 71, then East Pakistan, radicalized elements, those usually seen to be supporting Pakistan, like the Jamaat, have objected, mostly violently. Radicalization in Bangladesh has never been eliminated, but have things gotten worse? ISIS is believed to be gaining popularity amongst the already existing groups. While ISIS claims and provides evidence like photos of Bangladeshi boys visiting its camps, the government in Bangladesh denies any structured support for what it calls homegrown extremist groups. My colleague Saad Hamadi sent this report.
The killing of an Italian citizen in late 2015, claimed by ISIS, first raised concerns of its spread into Bangladesh. Debates have since surfaced over whether there is a direct presence of the outfit or if the attacks are carried out by local affiliates such as Jamaatul Mujahideen Bangladesh. Security experts say radicalism and Islamic militancy is not as much about groups or organizations as it is about its ideology. At least 10 people were killed in a bomb attack during the celebration of Bengali New Year in 2001. 4 years later, a countrywide bombing in 2005 had rocked Bangladesh. This year, the July attack at a Dhaka restaurant once again reminded how radical elements are gaining traction in the country. Some say this is the result of a void in the democratic process in Bangladesh. It is being speculated that as ISIS loses its ground in Iraq and Syria, it would be using South Asia as its base to operate.
Quite a few months back, the ISIS spokesperson from Syria had already told that those who are sympathizers of ISIS, they should need not to go to the ISIS-controlled territory, but should start working in their own areas, which indicated that those who are sympathizers in South Asia or Southeast Asia or Africa or Europe, anywhere in the world, they can, in the name of ISIS, they can start operation. There is a huge youth force who are not fully employed or underemployed. They suffer from frustration. And there is also a huge inflow of funds from Middle Eastern countries, may not be official but unofficial, from individuals who, in the name of charity, are actually encouraging these extremist ideas. Because Islam in Bangladesh had traditionally been a very, very non-violent spiritual movement. But those are now being replaced by orthodox Wahhabi, Salafi ideas which are coming from the Middle East. Also the political deadlock between the major parties, you see lack of communication between the major parties, lack of unity in meeting the challenge of extremism. This is also a factor.
The crackdown on extremists following the July attack shows the Bangladeshi security forces are on alert. The government maintains that the extremists are homegrown. That in effect means whether it is ISIS or JMB, there are elements patronizing their actions within the country. In Dhaka, Saad Hamadi, Wion.
Joining us, Major Sarwar Jahan Chaudhry, Security and International Relations expert from Dhaka. Thanks, sir, for speaking to Wion again. I'd like to start by asking you, the government in Bangladesh says these are homegrown terror groups, whereas ISIS has claimed responsibility for some of the attacks, certainly for the cafe attack, when they also released the pictures of the boys who conducted that attack, saying, look, they had come to our camps, we've got the evidence. So, is the government in Bangladesh in denial, or would you say there is lack of evidence when it comes to ISIS supporting some of the boys in Bangladesh that are radicalized?
Thank you, Achal. Thank you very much for having me again in the program. There are a few interesting aspects when it comes to analyzing the ISIS presence in Bangladesh. Interestingly, in Bangladesh, this is a large Muslim country, at least by population, and there are a plethora of right-wing Islamist group, although they never get much of popular support in democratic elections. Having said that, before the ISIS phenomena emerged in the world, before that we had some radical elements within the homegrown radical elements. Interestingly, when all the incidents that Saad Hamadi has described just before a few minutes, other than the July one, all prior terror attacks in Bangladesh in last 1 decade has been conducted by the homegrown homegrown radicals. So when it comes to, very interestingly, in case of the 1st of July attack, eventually there were some links found where a ISIS-linked handler handled these suicide attackers, and he was eventually found out, and he was also killed by the security forces. So for this particular incident, I don't think authority can't really deny about about its nature of being ISIS inspired.
So why is it denying, you think? Why is it they haven't really come on record? They continue to say that it isn't ISIS.
The interesting thing is that, I mean, the aspect that the government is trying to emphasize is that the government is trying to say that this cell which has operated the Gulshan attack did not receive any direct material support from ISIS. For example, there is a difference between ISIS operation in Syria, in Iraq, in Libya, in Yemen, and if you compare that with Bangladesh.
Right. While we understand that, but what are those photos then that ISIS released of these boys? How could the government deny any link at all?
I mean, if you have followed the news of the 1st of July attack, right on the night of the attack, the attackers actually took the mobile phone of a dead victim and forced another hostage to upload all these photos. So I mean, then they knew where to send the photos. So they had all these like internet links with some of the propaganda.
I got your point. I think I'm sorry. I just have last 4 minutes left, and I do have to go to my other panelists. I've got your point, Mr. Chaudhary, Major Chaudhary. I'm sorry. Let me go to Sushant Sareen again. Sushant, The Beak, which is ISIS's online magazine, has said that they would want to attack India, that all as a part of their Ghazwa-e-Hind, and they would want to attack India when they have their groups and their boys in Bangladesh and Pakistan. So if there are radicalized elements in Pakistan and Bangladesh a lot more than in India, even then it's a concern for India.
Of course it is. See, in the case of Bangladesh, the saving grace is that at least as far as the Bangladesh state is concerned, you don't see the kind of complicity which you see on our western side between Pakistan and these terrorist groups. You don't see that kind of complicity in Bangladesh. So I think that is one saving grace. I think the Bangladesh government also has a point when they say that while they might be having some kind of links with these fellows, on the cyberspace, or some kind of indoctrination might have taken place online, in actual terms, in terms of money, in terms of logistics, in terms of training, and all of that, there hasn't been any direct links which have been found, but nevertheless, because these are homegrown groups, very dangerous groups, there is a huge problem in Bangladesh. So I think the truth lies somewhere between what the analysts are saying and what the government is saying. I think there's something to be said for both sides, what they are saying. Got your point, and it lies somewhere in between.
It lies somewhere in between.
As far as Bangladesh is concerned.
Go ahead, finish your sentence, Sushant.
No, it's okay. I'll just...
All right, you pretty much made your point. Thanks very much. I'm going to be summing it up in just a bit, but let me get the final word from our Afghan guest, Mr. Noori. Mr. Noori, would you say that ISK, Islamic State Khorasan, is now a bigger threat than even the Taliban, or is it increasingly becoming a bigger threat, even if it doesn't match up to the Afghan Taliban quite yet? How would you analyze it?
I think the ISK being a threat is true, that they are now a threat. But to what extent they will become a bigger threat or not, again, I would say, unlike your guest from Pakistan who claimed to say, that you have a mindset and then you have an ideology, that the Pakistan is behind everything, and you keep repeating that. But if they receive the support of ISI, same as the Taliban received, just don't forget that Osama bin Laden was found and killed in Pakistan. Mullah Omar was found, the dead body of Mullah Omar, his death was announced in Pakistan, in Karachi, in a hospital in Karachi. The Mullah Mansour, his successor, was killed by a drone attack inside Pakistan. So these are all indications that Quetta Shura is held in Pakistan. So these are all the elements based on these facts we are talking, that the same as that ISI was behind supporting all these Taliban group, now ISI is behind supporting
Got
this
your point,
ISIS.
and I think you made pretty much one point through that 1 hour. I'm sorry, Mr. Chaudhary, we would not be able to give you another question, but certainly next time. Let me quickly wrap it up. When it comes to Afghanistan, our Afghan analyst says ISK, which is Islamic State Khorasan, is essentially a creation of the ISI. Of course, the Afghans blame Pakistanis completely for the events that are taking place in their country. They want to make peace with Taliban. That isn't happening. Even though Ashraf Ghani, the president of Afghanistan, has said that ISIS exists, and that is because of one of the prophecies, so to say, that they follow, which is of how the Mahdi would come from Khorasan, and that's a part of this larger fanatic Islamic State ideology. When it comes to Bangladesh, there is some connection to ISIS. Largely, ISIS is a brand that homegrown terrorist groups are using. Certainly, there is fear because radicalization in Bangladesh has been on a rise, and it's been on a rise ever since. And unless the government really controls Jamaat there and other outfits, it could be a bigger problem. When it comes to India, any event that's taking place when it comes to terrorism in our periphery, whether it comes to Afghanistan, Pakistan, Bangladesh, even Sri Lanka, or even the Maldives, it will have an impact here. 60 people, the intelligence officers here in India believe, 60 Indians have gone to areas held by ISIS to join ISIS. That, of course, is of huge concern. The policy of the Indian government and the Indian intelligence agencies right now is to control the ideology, the spread of this ideology in cities in India. We will keep a close eye on that story. The details of the story you'll also find on our website. I'm going to wrap with that. News and updates will continue here. Thanks for watching.